directorates. We have all these directors here, very senior people in the Senate who are willing to share their experiences with your people. So let these 3-4 days that we are here be used to really, better our relationship, deepen our relationship, so that as we go back to Nairobi, this county is left richer than we found it. Basically, I think that's what I wanted to share. I know I've made some wish that because the Senate is around, there's some things that were brought here to better our debates and plenary session, and it's your wish that as we go back, we don't carry. As a speaker, I make my decision through consultation, and my engine of making decision in the Senate is the House Business Committee. I believe I will. The only thing I can guarantee you now is I'll put that request before that committee, and I know the membership in that committee will be very receptive, and certainly we will be able, if not everything, but substantial, may be left behind. But let me not guarantee that. I can only give you a hope that once we see it. But we will be glad, of course. We will be glad, to leave these things behind, because we know they'll help you in this charge of your function. So, Honorable Speaker, thank you so much for welcoming us to Turkana. Later, these 3 days ahead of us be, a wonderful engagement, learning, exchange of experiences, so that as we leave, then we leave Turkana better than we found it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I am aware you are required your program. The program tells me you should be somewhere here. We are very grateful as the leadership of County Assembly of Turkana to have had a meeting with you outside your busy schedule, and my team or the County Assembly is fully instructed not to leave Lodwar. They have also instructed them to work closely with the relevant committees they have been scheduled to work with, because it's a learning process, and they will be around. Those who would have an opportunity to appear or come, they would have an opportunity to come into the public gallery if space will allow. But if space will not allow, we'll tell them to follow from wherever they will be, because technology is all over. Therefore, we really appreciate, and we are looking forward to learning a lot from you. Thank you, and be blessed. Yes.
Great. I believe that brings us to the end.
Yes. Yes. That brings us to the end of our meeting, and I will now hand over the process to the protocol handlers to proceed from where we have left.
Clerk, we're in your hands.
Honorable Speakers, I think we've come to the end of this meeting. Then the rest of the program will run. Those who are going to committees, they go to committees, to the offices. The program runs as indicated. Thank you.
We show you to your office.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker. I know the deputy is not around, but as the whip, maybe I'll just take 1 or 2 minutes. First of all, I wish to take this opportunity to really thank the Senate hapa tunajua kuna mengi ambayo tutafaidika nayo. Asante.
I will invite the majority to follow suit and make very brief remarks.
Thank you, the Rights Honorables, Senators present here. First of all, I want to take this opportunity to welcome the Kenyan Senate to Turkana. It is a privilege to have you on these grounds, because this is just a rare opportunity just to get we will benefit so much in terms of the economy. That will improve the economy of this county. And secondly, you know, when senators come here, they are not just a county. This is the Kenyan face. The Kenyan face, and therefore we have seen even our assembly change because of your presence. And that means when you will be living, you will live something good, and that will be a positive spillover to our assembly. I know you will not carry these gadgets because, you know, in terms of you are very liquid. You will not carry these small things with you because this is a Senate, and we know you promote so much evolution. And so when you will be living, you will leave some things that will benefit this assembly, including the speaker's seat. You see, when you compare the one that was there and the one that is there, you really see, we feel the Senate around. And you will also realize we are undergoing so many challenges. Even the allocation that we get as an assembly, given the so many challenges that we have, you realize what we get is so small, it cannot really satisfy the demands that we have as an assembly. So, because you fight for devolution, you will also look into that. Because you will take a whole week around, you will consider this assembly in terms of resource allocation. Otherwise, those few remarks, we welcome you and feel at home. This is another place you really enjoy. If you love time, you go to India. We have so many resorts around, very nice places. It's not the way people were talking about insecurity. You cannot, this is another heaven. So you're most welcome. Thank you.
Very well. 2 minutes for the speaker. If there is anything that doesn't get spoken and fail, our Senate Speaker have an opportunity to listen to and act on. Please proceed.
Thank you, Director. I take this opportunity to thank the Senate that is being our protector and our supreme protector in terms of devolution being anchored in law. This opportunity, we have been looking for it, and it happened one time. I and a few other members of the Speaker's panel visited the Senate, and in our visit, we discovered that the Senate Mashinani was to have place in one of the counties in the Republic of Kenya. And so, with our opportunity having visited the Senate, we really pleaded that we have a place and we have infrastructure that can at least but the Senate and its proceedings can do very well. And we really appreciate as an assembly and as a county, you taking that opportunity to have your third sitting in Turkana County. Turkana County is faced with a number of challenges. And as you will interact with the committees of the assembly, including the security committee, you'll really hear the real challenges. As I speak, I represent a ward, and today morning around 4 a.m., they raided my ward, the neighbors from Southern Sudan. That's just the insecurity we are talking about. We don't know if we lost life, but I'm waiting the report because that's a distant place, and there's no networks in some of the areas. You have to wait until they reach the area where you can be able to communicate with them. However, having said that, listen to us. Our issues will be raised, and because we have a representative in the Senate, to what he will be presenting in the Senate, you having seated in Turkana, you will really now take it as an issue seriously so that it can be paid attention. We know as a county we have had this historical marginalization, but with devolution the face is changing. It is not that one of narratives for you for taking.
When I walked in also, I was shocked to see that seat there because it looked like you are sitting in Nairobi. So I was asking the clerks here, are we also in the habit of carrying seats like governors from the office to one event? But the staff are assured this one. They are assured me they will not be carrying it back to the for the other things, Mr. Speaker, the county assembly members will know, and the Speaker will know that there is an ongoing conversation about capacitating members of the county assembly. When I walked in, I was expecting to see a label of where I'm going to sit, because that is what we are used to in the Senate. The leadership have, like my colleague, the deputy whip of the minority, should have her seat labeled so that it is clear that she's in leadership. I also have not found what are those things called? If somebody makes a strong point and I want to stamp my feet, I have not seen where, because if I kick this, it might come out, Mr. Speaker. So it is good when we come, and of course they have seen the sort of audiovisual equipment that the Senate has brought in. So that discussion is ongoing. I want to assure you that the Senate understands the plight of members of the county assembly in places such as Turkana, which I'm sure you represent vast wards that are even twice the size of some constituencies in this country. So we want to assure you that at least as the leadership in the Senate, and the Speaker will speak also, and my colleagues, we are fully in support of capacitating assemblies to be able to undertake the oversight function. There is a bill that has been sponsored by the Senator from Meru, and I'm sure you will be hearing this discussion in the course of the week, about financial autonomy for county assemblies. So that is something we want to do at the County Public Accounts Committee. We have also told the Auditor General that, for instance, this question of the percentage of resources that can be expended towards recurrent expenditure. We have made a decision there, Mr. Speaker, and it's now clear that that requirement does not apply to the County Assembly. It applies to the entire allocation of the county government. So you cannot express, for instance, members' salaries and emoluments and say, oh, Turkana County Assembly is beyond 60 or the 35% that is scheduled. So I want to assure you that you are very serious friends in the Senate. We work together to make sure that you're also able to be capacitated. I would love that even when we go to these Senate Mashinanis, every single county assembly we visit should look like the Senate in Nairobi, so that you are as comfortable as we are for you to be able to perform your functions. I thank you, and I will request, Mr. Speakers, both of you, that you now release me, because I'm a member of the Public Accounts Committee and we are sitting. I have a few questions for your governor, and if I'm not there, they might not be asked. So I request that you allow me to leave and attend that committee as you continue the deliberations. I thank you very much, and I look forward to the week ahead. Thank you, sir.
I want to thank Senator for Nairobi for those remarks. The Speaker of the Senate, much has been said by our previous speakers. Maybe I would delve on areas that they might not have been touched. First, I sincerely wish to welcome you to County Assembly of Turkana and Turkana County. Your second home. For the rest of the time, you would express your wishes to be around. People of Turkana are extremely welcoming and hospitable, and you wouldn't express some of the issues that we even feel when you are in Nairobi. Nairobi, at some point, becomes a high-risk area than some of these places. So you are assured of maximum safety and security in these places. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I wish to express my gratitude to the support we have had from the Senate. This County Assembly has had tremendous support from the Senate. There was a time I appeared before a committee of the Senate on matters regarding the budget process. There were issues of security staff. All officers, the County Assembly had erected officers in all wards, but there was no staff. When I appeared before the Senate took it positively and augmented our budget towards that process. So I sincerely wish to thank the Senate for that support. The other thing I wish to say is regarding the workload the Senate, the Assembly has. So, Speaker, you realize this county is about 1/8 of the Republic of Kenya, 77,000 square kilometers, and some wards are as big as some counties in Kenya. For instance, a ward represented by the leader of majority is extremely vast and expensive. extremely vast and expensive. Award goes close to 10,000 square kilometers. That's award. Now, for this member to reach his voters in each part of the world, it becomes so difficult, especially with very bad terrain, and the cost of petrol to access these areas also becomes a big challenge. So among the issues we are facing as a county is the infrastructural problem in virtually all over. We have the Lake Turkana here, which would have been a source of living for majority of Kenyans. The lake is almost 100% underdeveloped because of lack of infrastructure. Our appeal as the county assembly or as the leadership of Turkana is to have the government find some funds to have this road from Lodwar to the lake fixed, so that the tourism in this region be boosted. We wouldn't wish to have a situation where only the negative is read about Turkana County. We have moved away from that negative terrain. The negative things you read about Turkana County is along the border of Baringo and West Pokot. The moment you are 20-30 kilometers into Turkana, it's extremely safe. And you wouldn't hear any incidents of gunshots or whatever, or thugs. This is one of the stable counties in terms of democracy. Since independence, we have never had commotions, especially after elections. Everybody is given an opportunity to vote where he wants, or where he or she wants, then he goes to his place. So the nature of Lodwar town, Lodwar municipality, reflects the face of Kenya. You will find all the 47 tribes, including the recently naturalized one from the coast region. They are also represented here. So all Kenyans live in Lodwar, and Lodwar is the face of the Republic of Kenya. And that's how, as the leadership, we would want this county of Turkana to be. As the county assembly, we are faced with a number of issues. And since the inception of the third assembly, we have passed about 6 bills. About 6 bills. And about 5 more are in the process of being considered. We have passed the Animal Health Bill 2023, Education Fund Bill 2023, Finance Bill 2023, the CIDP, Environmental Bill 2023, and climate change regulations have also been passed, and water service regulations. Now, while considering these bills, several committees which these bills are domiciled experience a number of challenges, especially the financial challenges. To have effective public participation requires a lot of capital outlay because of the logistical involvement and also the physical distance between the place where the assembly sits and where the stakeholders are resident. So that in itself is a challenge in terms of financial considerations. So it's our plea, when we make requests of such a nature, this matter, so that we can secure release of these Kenyans who have been held on the other side. We are all aware Uganda is a member of the East African Community. It's also a member of SADC, or COMESA. It's also a member of IGAD. The same political configuration Uganda is the one Kenya has. And all these configurations have frameworks of dispute resolutions. They have protocols, especially on peace and security. It would be better if the leadership of the two countries, either through the summit or Council of Ministers, to make an intervention on this matter. Because 41 people from the same ethnic community being held to a point of where they are not certain when they will be released is a serious pain to the community. And it waters down the spirit of the East Africanness. It's my sincere hope, because the same protocol and treaty, we are the ones who ratified the second treaty. I was there as a member of parliament. Protocol on peace and security, we are the ones who made sure it is in place. And therefore, the same spirit we had in coming up with this protocol should be the same spirit we, as the East Africans, must put in place to resolve this matter. It is not fair going in that direction. We would request, when you meet the president, we request that the president makes some contact with his counterpart in Uganda to secure release of these Kenyans. And if there are further arrangements that can be made as partner states, they can be made formally, and we sensitize both sides of these two countries. We know this is a very, very serious matter. The other issue, when I speak, I wish to request you to escalate, is the issue of financial autonomy of county assemblies. Hinging securing of funds on the executive infringes the principle of separation of powers. And therefore, while exercising oversight function over the executive, and it's the same executive that holds the powers for the assembly, I find something would not be functionally well with that arrangement. And the thinking which has been postulated by Senator for Nairobi about the bill on financial autonomy of county assemblies, to me is the right way to go. It's the right way to go to uphold the principle of separation of powers, and also to have independent oversight of county assemblies on executive. My other request, which could be the second final request, is on matters of matters on delimitation of boundaries. Matters on delimitation of boundaries. I want to discuss it in twofold. First, there is a settlement which has now been done along Baringo, West Pokot, Turkana, the counties that are bordering. That is the right direction to go. But at the same time, there is need to involve elders from both sides, so that the government shouldn't arbitrarily gazette a region whose dwellers haven't agreed on where it belongs. Making a unilateral decision to gazette an area without involving those people who are domiciled in those areas could be in itself a recipe for chaos. Therefore, I would urge that that process be looked into keenly. The intention is okay, because we have situations where a location is in Turkana and the same location has a different name in West Pokot or in Baringo, but the same place. Turkana County Commissioner posts a chief there. Baringo County Commissioner also posts a chief. So there are two chiefs earning the same salary from the same government in the same place. So in as much as the government is very right to do that assessment, but involvement, public participation to resolve the possible dispute arising out of that decision needs to be done. Then finally, on issues that have been raised by leader of majority. Leader of majority has underscored the importance of devolution and the role played by the Senate in enhancing devolution. You've realized that there are various gaps. When you enter these chambers, there are a number of gaps. It's not like the National Assembly or the Senate. And it's all our wish that county assemblies become replicas of Senates, both by design and infrastructure. In that regard, apart from economically empowering Lodwar municipality by way of boosting the business fortunes of people who will be interacting with the Senate and its staff, which is a reality. We also wish to request you to leave your footprints behind, because this is the last time in the next 47 years this county will be hosting the Senate. I'm quite certain that this thing is purely, perfectly rotational. Perfectly rotational in such that there is no county or county assembly that would hold the Senate twice without another one having an advantage of the same. Now, for that case, what I'm only requesting as your colleague, as a friend, a long-time friend, and as promoters of devolution, is to leave your footprints perfectly behind. My operating word is perfectly behind. Perfectly in the sense that you don't go back with anything. All the infrastructure you have brought in, including the cameras, including including the portable ACs outside. I know you might have procured some of them by way of hire or lease, but Senate is an appropriating organ of this republic, and when a big brother comes and visits you, that feeling must be extended, must be felt thoroughly for some time, and becomes an historical mark. So that in future, when you probably become the president of this country, because I can see you going that direction. Because it's very rare for somebody to escalate that way. That only decision of leaving everything back in Turkana, especially in Turkana County Assembly, will be very memorable for us as your footprints, even in future. When all of us retire, and I happen to visit you in Coast, I would have something to say. What you left there has edged to this level, and would be very glad, Madam Speaker, I don't want to tie you with so many sentiments, but I would request that I would take this opportunity to welcome you to make some brief remarks.
Thank you, Speaker of the County Assembly of Turkana, the leadership of the County Assembly of Turkana. Allow me, Honorable Speaker, before I even say anything, to say this on behalf of the Senate as an institution, the individual senators, and on behalf, to really thank you for the warm reception and hospitality extended to us this far. We've been here for those who came yesterday, those of us who've just arrived, but honestly, we truly feel we belong. You know, the feeling of brotherhood, the feeling of sisterhood is very much ruling the air, and we want to say thank you so much for this warm hospitality. Now, Honorable Speaker and the leadership of the County Assembly of their presence, even when they've long left. I believe that will be so. We view county assemblies as partners. If it was a relay in athletics, when you run your beat, then you hand over that baton to someone else to finish. That's how we view the county assemblies. They process the raw data, then it comes to the Senate for refinement. And therefore, once we are able to structure that kind of relationship, I think devolution will find a very good fertile ground to thrive. We, as the Senator Sifuna has said, our primary focus really and our concern is to capacitate the county assemblies. Now, there are different ways of doing it, but the primary one is because your role is basically the role of the Senate in terms of oversight. You cannot oversight someone who determines when to pay, how to pay you, and therefore you need some kind of independence for you to effectively discharge your oversight role. And that's why in the Senate there is the bill that is sponsored by the Deputy Speaker of the Senate and Senate for Meru, the Honorable Senator Kathuri Murungi. And I believe that bill will find its discussion here on the floor of this county assembly. But I've been a governor for 10 years. I did not need any bill. Kilifi County Assembly became independent financially from the word go, from the first year I was sworn in as governor. Because I felt that if you want to see the quality of leaders, give them that independence. Then they'll be able to grow because they'll exercise their mind independently. But if you hover around others, you stifle the leadership freedom. You know, you stifle their space to exercise the leadership, hence nab their growth. But again, those governors who feel like they will never want to give the county assembly that kind of autonomy for reasons better known to them. But for me, if you need to have effective oversight over your county government, you need that independence. Okay? Independence that is embedded in the law, to the extent that whether you're in good books with your governor or not, that should not in any way be used against you in terms of trying to stifle your freedom to exercise oversight. So again, I believe that that bill will find will be discussed during this particular session. Another interesting issue you raised, Honorable Speaker, is the issue of the limitation of boundaries and how to settle boundary disputes between counties. The Senate again is seized of this matter. There's actually a bill that has been developed, and I want to believe that in the course of our plenary sessions in this county assembly, we'll be able to discuss this. We have carefully chosen, in fact, the business that will be transacted during this week to bring relevance to the business of the Senate and to the county of Turkana. And I want to implore upon you, Honorable Speaker, that in as much as we are going to displace you and your members for this 1 week, please don't leave Lodwar. You know, I want to urge the Honorable members to be around and extract as much as you can from these senators. There's so much that you can learn, and there's so much also that these senators can be able to learn from you, so that when they go back to Nairobi, they have that advantage of that knowledge that is being experienced at the county level. So please, and I'm happy, if you look at the program, for example, for the week, there is a lot of matching the committees. You know, the Senate Committee of Agriculture, for example, sitting with the County Assembly of Turkana Standing Committee on Agriculture. That is going to really allow us to share a lot of good practices so that as we leave, then we leave that mark you've been ably talked about. Not the mark that I believe some of us were thinking, but that good mark of leaving knowledge to the members of the County Assembly of Turkana, so that you can proudly say, were it not for the Senate, we wouldn't be this far. That is the kind of impact we would wish to leave behind, and that can only be made possible if, instead of your members leaving Lodwar because the chambers are now being occupied by the Senate, they will work very closely with us so that they can extract as much knowledge as they can. And this goes beyond the interaction between the members of the County Assembly and the senators. We have the most senior members of the Secretariat here, led by Mr. Jeremiah Nyegenye, our clerk. So even your team, the clerk and his team, the directorates, we have all these directors here, very senior people in the Senate who are willing to share their experiences with your people. So let these 3-4 days that we are here be used to really, better our relationship, deepen our relationship, so that as we go back to Nairobi, this county is left richer than we found it. Basically, I think that's what I wanted to share. I know you've made some wish that because the Senate is around, there's some things that were brought here to better our debates and plenary session, and it's your wish that as we go back, we don't carry. As a speaker, I make my decision through consultation, and my engine of making decision in the Senate is the House Business Committee. I believe I will. The only thing I can guarantee you now is I'll put that request before that committee, and I know the membership in that committee will be very receptive, and certainly we will be able, if not everything, but substantial, may be left behind. But let me not guarantee that. I can only give you a hope that once we sit. But we will be glad, of course. We will be glad, to leave these things behind, because we know they'll help you in discharge of your function. So, Honorable Speaker, thank you so much for welcoming us to Turkana. Let these 3 days ahead of us be, a wonderful engagement, learning, exchange of experiences, so that as we leave, then we leave Turkana better than we found it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I am aware you are required, your program, the program tells me you should be somewhere again. That is, we are very grateful as the leadership of County Assembly. I've had a meeting with you outside your busy schedule, and my team or the County Assembly is fully instructed not to leave Lodwar. They have also instructed them to work closely with the relevant committees they have been scheduled to work with, because it's a learning process, and they will be around. Those who would have an
Honorable Philip Ekwam, MCA, Deputy Speaker, Turkana County Assembly, member of the House Leadership Committee.
Thank you. I'm Edukon Stephen, MCA and leader of majority, the County Assembly of Turkana. Thank you.
Honorable Abdi Fatah Kapua Ebey, the Deputy Majority Leader.
Right Honorable